Are you willing to put your money on the line that at least one of these 4 series goes to a Game 6?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Well, I get 4 cracks at it.
Yeah, those are pretty good odds.
I agree. I think there's going to be Game 6s. Absolutely.
No,
multiple Noodles.
I'll bet you each $100 that there'll be no Game 6s.
No Game 6s. So I've got Ray. Before you chime in, yeah, I'm in too.
Okay.
That's an easy $100. That's an easy $100.
Noodles, where should we go for dinner with our money?
Yeah.
Well, it'd have to be delivered, but we can go.
But I mean, I could even send a delivery from my house with those $100.
What about there's one guy left with no balls open.
Dude, listen, I'm already 100.
The easy bet.
I'm already up 100 on you. I don't need to steal your cash. I will take it from you.
Refresh my memory on what that 100. I thought we were all square.
Oh no, we're not. Let me refresh your memory here real quick. Quick.
Go ahead.
Does this ring a bell to you? The Milwaukee Bucks, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers. What happened in all 3 of those series?
They won.
That's right. Remember when they were all down 1-0? You bet me 100 at least one would lose?
Yeah. That was not good. That was not smart. And
that was not smart.
And that's exactly what you're doing right here. You're
I just like the action. I like the action.
All right, Ray, who do you feel most confident in then? Is it Boston? Is it Colorado, Vancouver, Philly? Which one do you feel most confident in to keep it alive?
I think behind the goaltending of Michael Hutchinson, it's going to be Colorado.
Oh, that is crazy to say that.
You heard what I said last hour. If they had any
Frances can't stop it. Hutch is going in.
I think he can't possibly be worse than Francouz.
Frances.
And so I think that's a bonus.
Yeah.
And I think Colorado they'll win one more game.
Do you think Colorado automatically is saying, okay, we're in the goalie market this summer. We're not doing this again immediately?
Yes. Noodles, would you have thought they would have been in anyway?
Yeah, but I've been getting destroyed by people in Colorado when I said that Grubauer and Frances, I wouldn't trust them going into the playoffs. They needed somebody at the deadline to shore that up, and all people did was send me their save percentages. And neither one of them have done anything in the playoffs. Frances is a 30-year-old guy who is has come out of nowhere. I mean, he's a fine goaltender, but all Michael Hutchinson is a taller Frances. That's what he is. Like he's a lefty goalie, and I think, honest to God, I think Hutchinson will give them the save that they need. I really think Colorado will win one more game. I really do. They may win. They have to win at 6-5 maybe, but they will. Right,
but I want to make sure. I don't think that Hutchinson all of a sudden went to Colorado and became a Vezina Trophy finalist. I just think that he's better can be better for one night than Francouz, which is all I'm worried about for my bet with O.
Yeah,
that's about it. And so they're in every game, and they can't even get close to a save.
Yeah,
from him. He's not been able to do it. I look. People have been, they side with goaltenders on statistics all the time, and people were, outraged that Marc-Andre Fleury was the backup. Well, he's a .905 goalie this year, right? Sometimes your numbers just tell you what you are. Sometimes you have more faith because you know the goalie better. I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury is a .905 goalie for the rest of his career. And so when they played him last night, I'm like, look, the other guy's coming off a shutout. I would have found it hard to trade goalies, but I didn't really sweat that Fleury's in net. You know you're going to get a few good saves from him.
And to me, there's no drop off.
Right. I couldn't put Francouz back in net. The team has no faith in him right now.
Like can you imagine how frustrated Joe Sakic has to go to Jared Bednar and go, this is this is what we're stuck with here. Like they didn't do anything at the deadline to, they got Hutchinson, I guess technically, but they should have that.
Starter, though. They've got so far you can go.
Yeah, but Grubauer he's a platoon guy.
He's better
not
than
your
this than
He
Frank
absolutely
says,
is.
or whatever the hell his name
He
is.
absolutely is. But
I want to know how many times. Sorry, I want to know how many ways we can pronounce his name. It's Francouz.
Francouz.
It used to be Francouz.
I think the Z is silent. I think it's Francouz.
I just like Frances.
Well, either way, they've got him for 2 more years at $2 million. They extended him. So, that's the point. Is Colorado's trying to win a Stanley Cup, and I think they're close. I think that team is so deep and so talented. Like, they're not just a one-line team. They've got depth. They've got defensemen that can move the puck. They got a great coach. Like, they're some saves away from doing something special. And you know what? They're waking up chasing 3-1. I don't see them winning that series.
They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. All right, we're going to get to Seravalli and the Winnipeg story here, or
sure.
So what did he say today? That he thinks there's a chance Patrik, Laine, and Nick Ehlers could be on the trade bait board?
I think he was saying that they were basically that there are teams that have been interested in them, and the Jets have to listen. I don't see it's no different than when the Leafs lost out. People were like, well, Nylander's available.
Right.
Well, when the Jets lose out, okay, Nick Ehlers is Nylander. They're the exact same player. Exact stats, everything. Like, they were drafted one pick apart. And why wouldn't you be looking to move Ehlers or Laine to shore up your team where they're struggling in the back end?
Laine's the bigger one. Ehlers is, you can wrap your head around. Laine was the god of that city when he first got there, and he was the next, Ovechkin and second overall pick, and it was a battle. Was it him or Matthews? Did Winnipeg get lucky because the Leafs took Matthews? And now the wheels have fallen off. In terms of his, I get the impression, in terms of his reputation in the market. I could be wrong. I don't live there, but I don't think that people in Winnipeg feel the same way about him today that they did 2 years ago. I think that's safe to say.
100%. I do 10 Jets games a year, and there's no question there's a growing frustration at what Laine potential of shot and stuff can give you as to what he delivered. I'll say, from my watching, from the games I was there, I thought he played a better game this year than he did last. He didn't score anywhere near as much, but I thought his game looked like he was more committed to being, involved in a team game as opposed to standing out there and just pounding away at the one-timer. Yet they've got cap issues in Winnipeg, right? Because the top of their roster is really expensive. Would they move Laine to, can you move Laine and, kind of take a half a step backward to go forward? Maybe. I'm sure there's lots of teams that would go, hey, I got a great centerman here that doesn't have anyone to pass to. Maybe Laine can be the guy. Winnipeg has a huge hole in the middle of their lineup behind Mark Scheifele. Brian Little's hurt, and he's advanced in age, but they don't really have anybody in that top end, and I would think that would be the target for them.
I would have a tough time pulling the trigger on a guy that might be ripping home 55 year after year for 4 or 5 years.
Depending what comes back, right? Like, I guess so. Like, it's not worked out for Nashville, but they were hunting for a number one centerman, and they traded Seth Jones for Ryan Johansson. And so that's kind of the deal that I think you would look at, is that you've got this. How old is Laine? Is he 22?
Yeah.
Right? He's not, so I'm looking for a 22-year-old center who's got all kinds of upside, same as Laine does, and can we flip those two things? But I don't want a draft pick and a third-line center and a number 4D for him. I can find that elsewhere. I need something that might break out the same as Laine might. Yeah. If I'm making that deal. I hear you, though. Man, those are a lot of goals to put in the tank.
Yeah.
Well, and with the salary cap being flat, what did he sign, a 2 or 3 year bridge?
It was a 2-year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he might be an RFA again after the
That's what I'm saying.
season.
That's where I was going to go, guys, is that I think they're looking ahead and going, if this guy ends up where we think he's projected to be, that's going to cost us a boatload of money. It's going to be double digits. and where is our cap going? I think they're seeing something maybe that we all don't see. Whether it's work ethic, it's maturity. Like behind the scenes, we don't know what this guy's all about, or even if he wants to be in Winnipeg long term.
He had
maybe
some
that's
weird
another
comments
thing too.
I remember last year, about the whole situation. We'd have to dig them up, but I remember thinking at the time that I don't know what this means for his future in Winnipeg, but I was thinking about big trades for cornerstone pieces watching Vegas play last night. Like that was the Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty night. Like the two of them dominated that game. And I don't think either team – I don't know enough about Brandstrom. Like he has to hit. He better hit because that Mark Stone is a stud. But he better be more than a nice player. Like it was a 1-for-1 basically. Mark Stone.
He doesn't look it to me, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sold that Brandstrom is Erik Karlsson.
No,
right.
No.
So like I think he's a little guy that skates really well, can really move the puck, but my viewings of him at the World Juniors and the few games he played in Ottawa is like he's not Quinn Hughes, but he's of that mold. Like that's kind of how he plays.
Who's that left-handed D in Winnipeg that just recently retired? He was a smaller guy. He moved
Toby Enstrom.
Yeah, he looks like he might be a Toby Enstrom.
Well, I think he's thicker, though. You know what this guy reminds me of is more like, and he doesn't play like it, but just the build, the actual physical build of Torrey Krug. Like smaller, low center of gravity, like big legs on the kid and stuff. I still think he's got a chance to be a really good defenseman. I really do. I saw him a lot. I think he's very not confident as far as he's really good in the minors, but when he gets to the NHL, I think he's too careful. And I think careful is sometimes not good with these young players. They just got to go out and play their game. But you're right. But all I could think about watching Mark Stone last night and Pacioretty, like Montreal is – They're
happy with that deal.
They're happy because Suzuki's there.
Exactly.
That Suzuki and Tadar have been fantastic for the Canadians. Absolutely. And Pacioretty's been great for Vegas. But,
when you make a trade, who cares what the guy does once you trade him?
Who
if he
cares?
does great, good for him. That's fine.
Right.
But as long as what you've acquired answers your needs, then you got to be fine with it. And Montreal should be happy with that because the pieces you mentioned, Jamie, that they got back, look to be, in Suzuki's case, to be like a home run in particular. Yeah. And Pacioretty looks terrific in the place that he's playing, with the guys that he's playing with, and what's a really really dangerous team. Man, they've got some players there. But they had the assets to go make the trades, to get Stone, to get Pacioretty. Like Brandstrom and Suzuki, they were two of those 3 first-rounders they acquired in the first year. Right? And they said, we're ready. We're better now than we thought. We're going to move those guys along. Otherwise, they would have kept them.
Ray, Tampa looks like they're going to make a step here, or they're going to make a step. Who knows? They might falter against the Bruins. But do you think the additions of Bogosian, Gaudreau, Coleman, who else did they get? Pat Maroon. Do you think that facelift kind of is the reason that they are where they are?
I do, because we talked when the Leafs went out, and the one thing that I keep having in my head is nothing works unless there's balance. Like it can't be all of one thing or all of another. There's got to be a balance. And Tampa was all skill, smaller, and they got kind of out-battled against Columbus in a lot of ways. Remember that first game? They were up 3-0. Like it looked like Columbus was in work boots. And then all of a sudden, they kind of grinded their way back into it, and Tampa just fell apart. So they go out and they get those big guys, and then at the deadline, same sort of deal, right? They take a position of, okay, we're really good, but we don't have enough balance. And those were both first-round picks for Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman.
Blake Coleman, yeah.
Right? For first-rounders. Like, you're not making that trade if you're the 15th ranked team. They're like, we think we can be really good, and so we're gonna blow out some of our future here to make these deals. And then they also must trust Al Murray and his staff, who keep finding a Braden Point in the third round, for example, and then they're able to replenish their system maybe with lower draft picks because they don't have first. Maybe they'll get some back this summer when they're going to have to move some money. Like maybe they can get something for Tyler Johnson, a second-round pick or something like that. Like for players like that, that's kind of what they're going to have to do. But, man, they were like, we need balance, we need strength. Here's 4 bigger guys that they've added since January. Well, I guess Maroon came earlier, but Bogosian came later in the year, and then, the 2 at the deadline.
It's worked out so far. We'll see if they close it tonight. Good luck with that bet, buddy. We'll break it down later in the week.
Yeah, we'll figure out where to go for dinner